I will never get tired of the helos flying in and out of Naval Station Mayport down here in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey guys, KP Jax here. Today, just doing a quick video. My wife, my awesome wife, asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And typically, I don't ask for anything. Usually if I need stuff throughout the year, I get it. And it's typically for a project or something for the family. So I just kind of, do what I do. Like if it's not broke, why fix it kind of thing. So she asked me what I wanted. My first thing was like, well, I want a DJI Phantom 3 or 4. And she was like, no, it's not going to happen. So the next thing on my list, I was like, well, me getting gifts and giving gifts, I like to do practical gifts that somebody can use every day, or that I can use every day if somebody asks me what I want. So I said, well, I've been dealing with this rickety old chair for, like the past 8 or 10 years. There's like no padding left in this thing, so when you're sitting on it, it's kind of just like you're sitting on the piece of wood that they used to manufacture in there, and then they put the cheap cushion over. So for Christmas, she got me a new chair, and she did some research and thought she found a pretty good one. So let's check it out. Let's put it together and see what it does. So the first thing that you need to make sure when you're starting a project, something like opening a chair, something as simple as this, is when you're cutting the package open, you don't want to cut too deep because you don't want to end up, slicing into the foam of a chair or whatever else might be in there. Then you want to inventory. You want to make sure that you take everything out of the box, lay it out, and make sure that everything in the box is on the inventory sheet or the packing sheet of whatever comes in with it. So whatever came in the box with this chair was one backrest, a seat, 2 armrests, a base, 5 casters. They call it a mechanism, which does the tilting, backrest covers, a gas lift, bolts. It says 20 millimeter by 12 M8s and M5s 10 by 2. However, this thing just had a bunch of 8 millimeter or M8 20 millimeter bolts, no 10 millimeters. Some plastic covers, and a universal tool, which is basically a screwdriver / Allen wrench mix. So the first thing you're going to do when you're putting the chair together is you always start at the bottom. You don't want to start with the top of the chair and then have nowhere to go. So you start at the bottom, put out the base, hook up the casters, you seat the gas lift, which I was surprised that it only sits in the base. It doesn't actually screw in or mount. And then you hook in the armrests. And then once you get the armrest on, you put on the mechanism, which is going to raise it up and down. And then you just simply put the mechanism on top of the gas lift. After that, it's pretty simple. You bring in the backrest. And with this particular chair, there were simply 4 bolts that bolted the backrest onto the actual seat. And then once you put those 4 bolts in and tighten them down, and you don't want to tighten down everything to the tightest you can until it's all put together. Kind of gives a little settling for a second. So once you put those in, those 4 bolts, then you put the backrest covers on, which are basically just pretty pieces of plastic to cover up the bolts, essentially. And those go in with a couple of screws. And then all you have to do is simply adjust the neck rest and adjust the lower backrest. So, once you do that, the chair's already, all done. So this thing was actually very simple to put together, a lot less complicated than some chairs that I've worked on. You always want to make sure that you have lots of kids around to, make sure that they take your tools, take your bubble wrap, take your wheels. It always makes fun for putting a chair together and, that kind of stuff. So this is the new chair. It is a gaming chair. I don't know who makes it. There was no labeling on it, and even in the instructions, it simply says assembly instructions for gaming chair. So I don't know who made it. I guess I'll have to find out. I'll leave the link below. But it took me about 20 minutes to put together. Roughly, it came with like 12 screws and not a whole lot to it, but it's very comfortable. Definitely a lot more padding. It says it comes with high density foam, so I have HD foam. I don't know what that means, but it is definitely a lot more comfortable. There's a pillow up here built into it. Right here, there's a pillow for your low back support. I notice a lot of times I end up sitting forward at my desk rather than leaning back, just because I have an old desk. This desk is probably 30 years old. I bought it 10 years ago off of a guy who used to work at a company, and he got the desk from when he worked at that company like 20 years ago. And it's this massive wooden principal's desk. It's like 3.5 feet deep and like 5 feet wide, and 3 feet tall, and it's just solid wood, and it doesn't move. Well, this chair is great so far. It's got adjustable handrails. You can turn in and out, up and down, and change that. You can adjust the height, adjust the pitch, that stuff. So she really did a great job. But she knows that I'm trying to do more with YouTube and get content out to you guys. So why not be comfortable while doing it instead of sitting in some old 10-year-old rickety chair. So shout out to my wife Jen. She's been awesome, and hope you guys have a great day.